Ashley, I want to talk a little bit about the idea of quote-unquote celebrities as designers. You know, a lot of actresses and singers and entertainers have started their own fashion lines, but not that many have done really, truly well. I mean, many have not lasted, and most have not gone on to make serious money. Now, you're a bit of an exception because, you know, you're really doing this full-time now. This is your career. But what advice would you give someone else who's looking to make that transition from acting, singing, entertaining into fashion?
I think it's if they really want it and they're interested in it. I think a lot of celebrities get involved in it to have a licensing partner and to kind of slap their name on it and to add to their brand. For us, it was something completely different. We grew up in the entertainment industry, and that's what we knew, and yes, fashion was a part of it in a way. But that wasn't my choice of that, you know, that's what I want to do when I grow up. I want to be an actress. That's never what I thought that I wanted to be. So when I turned 18, I stopped everything, and I really thought about what I wanted to do, and fashion is what I, you know, went after. And so for me, when I look at it as a celebrity brand, it's always so silly to me because I'm not coming at it from a celebrity standpoint.
Mm-hmm. And how big, in terms of staff, is The Row now? How big is the company?
9 people.
Wow. And
they're all backstage.
Yeah. And
they're all named Olsen.
They're definitely not all named Olsen. And Elizabeth and James, about the same size?
No, larger.
Larger.
Yeah, probably 30 or something.
Wow.
But that's a licensed business, so we don't oversee the manufacturing and things like that. That's more just design input and branding and marketing and really focusing on that, which is what I love to do, is build brands and find void in the marketplace and build brands. That's my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm. When you first got into when you made that decision at 18 and you started talking to people about getting into the business, were any of them surprised that you wanted to be involved to the extent that you did, given that it is unusual?
I just remember talking to my dad and said, listen, I've been searching for the perfect white T-shirt forever and I can't find it. A luxurious, nice, beautiful shirt that I can go back to season after season, know I'm going to find it there, and wear and have these really beautiful pieces to wear with everything else in my life. And he said, I think you should do it. I haven't really heard of anything either. I think you should go for it. And I did.
Oh, good dad.
Yeah. That's kind of how it started.
I want to go back to, we were talking before a little bit about body image and size and, whether Michelle Obama has had an impact there. Robin, not to keep quoting from your stories, but they're so damn good.
Please do.
But, you wrote an interesting piece about how fashion and the sort of fashion ideal has actually gotten thinner as women have gotten larger. And, that in fact maybe there's an element of self-hatred there, that people are prizing something that is farther and farther away from what they actually look like. Can you talk a little bit about that?
And I can direct you to our website where you can read all the comments from the people who hate me.
Did the piece got a violent reaction?
No, I got a violent reaction, basically. What made me think about it was the story about the Ralph Lauren model whose image had been retouched to the point of cartoonish. But, I was thinking about the whole idea of, in the last decade, really, is when we've started to have this sort of extreme reaction to models because they've gotten so thin. And where at one point the size of a model was about a size 6 or a size 4, now it's gotten down to size 4 and size 2 and size 0, to the point where oftentimes they are distractingly thin. And at the same time, people in general have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And it made me think that part of what the fashion industry does in defining itself is to react in opposition to what is the mainstream, to what is the norm, and kind of sets itself up as something rarefied and special and worth aspiring to.
I think that's because it works. I'm sorry to say that. I don't do that, but I have noticed that very awful images seem to get people's attention.
And one thing that struck me was the fact that for all of the complaining and the blogging about how thin models are, no one is not buying the clothes from designers who use thin models. The only thing that stopped them from buying was the economy. Not because they were reacting to the images that they were seeing.
But you talked before about that woman sort of over a certain age who might, pre-Michelle Obama, have felt locked out of fashion. Isn't that maybe part of the reason?
I think that they resented it because they felt that the image was unattainable. But I don't think that they resented it because they thought that the image of this thin woman, and I don't mean an unhealthy, anorexic woman, I mean just a excessively thin woman, I don't think that they reacted to that because they thought it was unattractive. I mean, the reality is that, we look at a television show, and this was, in the piece about The Biggest Loser. And that's a hugely popular show. And it's not because people are losing 40 pounds and becoming healthy. I mean, these people are throwing up in a gym so they can lose 100 pounds and get down to a size 2. And we're cheering them on. So as a culture, we really do relish thin. And as much as we complain about the thin models, we are drawn to them.
But Isaac, you use women of different types in a lot of the Liz campaigns, and it must, I imagine you do it because it works.
Well, I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, I did it because I thought of it as an idea to kind of tolerate a model. Do you know what I mean? I thought this is the brand that will tolerate a beautiful woman, like a thin, young, gorgeous 20-year-old woman, you can come in the picture too. Do you know what I mean? That was the sort of thought about those ads,
Yeah.
But it was this idea of looking at women as, as the beginning of things. You are beautiful already. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to make you look beautiful. You look beautiful already. It's I had this fashion show this spring where I had this, it was sort of what's the word? Where you can't get somewhere, there's an obstacle course, right? And people couldn't understand what I was trying to say with. I didn't have a rain machine and a wind machine and a staircase, and why did I make it harder for the girls to look beautiful, And it's my point that I think people look beautiful when they are walking upstairs and when they are walking through rain, and when they are, too much wind on them. I think they are beautiful, and, that may be just a little bit too kind of idyllic or something, but I do think people are beautiful. Okay, up with people, all right?